starting it off with another freshly dressed in a suit. Good-looking young man, Caleb Lohner, is with us on BYU Sports Nation.
What up?
It's suit day.
It's suit day. Blue. BYU blue suit.
Is everyone in the same color too, or is
Everyone is in the same colored suit.
It looks good.
They look like matching blueberries. That's great.
How would you explain the dynamic of the team right now? How is it from a chemistry and getting along standpoint? Like, because there are so many newcomers. So how is it right now?
It's actually really cool because I think everyone on the team is so different. Like, we got 2 dudes from Africa. We have a few.
3, right?
3. 3. Yeah.
Right?
Gideon, Tiki, and Foose. We have dudes that have transferred from other schools. Like, we just have all these different pieces that now we're starting to mesh together and feeling it out. And it's going to be so fun. I think it's something that BYU hasn't seen, and it's going to be really special.
I think it's great, honestly, because I love the blending of literally cultures, languages, all kinds of people from all kinds of places.
Yeah.
At Wasatch, you guys had a team like that, so you kind of done this before, right?
Yeah. We had a similar situation.
Yeah, and then you have to integrate together to form one common goal.
Yes.
And Mark talks about this best locker room in America thing. So how do you do that when it's a new group? Like, how do you make it so that you don't tear apart during the season when times get tough and things are weird, but that you love each other and you're bought in, that whole thing?
I think one of the ways that we're starting to do this, and I think it's kind of a process over time, is that we just put so much time in together, whether we hate each other one day, whether the next day we're having fun doing something. Like, we took a retreat earlier on in the year just as a team to have fun. Like, it was strictly, hey, this is yours, go have fun. And so I think the more we kind of spend time doing things together, whether it is tough, whether it's easy, whether we're just hanging out, you kind of build this mental, like, hey, these are my guys. Like, these guys I'm going to battle with, I'm sweating with, I'm having fun with. And so even with two-a-days with Coach Pope, like, we're up in the morning with them. It sucks sometimes. We're up in the evening with them. But it's just this continual process of working. And I think together, that's kind of how we've just come closer because we all have the same goal.
Where was the retreat? What did you guys do?
We went up to this cabin. It had a little pond and a lake, and there was all sorts of toys. And Coach Pope was just like, "Hey, go have fun." So there was all sorts of us. We were fishing. We were on kayaks. Oh yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
We were hitting golf balls off the top of the roof. It was great. We actually have a video. I don't know where it is, but there's like this pond in front of the house, and we hit a golf ball, or I hit a golf ball. It was like a 7-iron off the top of the roof of this lake house. And Casey Brown was on the other side with, it was either a baseball glove or a lacrosse stick. And he caught it. So for like 15 minutes, I'm drilling balls at him from like 150 yards away. And finally, I pop one perfectly up, and he catches it. It almost hits him in the face, but it's pretty cool. It was
my
fun.
gosh.
That's why the video hasn't surfaced.
Probably. Danger.
We got to find that, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Caleb Lohner is with us on BYU Sports Nation. From a basketball standpoint, we've talked about the different personalities and different backgrounds that all of these guys come from on the BYU team.
Yeah.
But from a basketball standpoint, how is the team different than the team you played on last year?
I think the team this year, we're a little bit more diverse. Not in the way of just where everyone's come from, but as the way we play. I think we have tons of athletes this year. I think we can guard like BYU really ever could. And so I think with all these different pieces and the athletes and the ability we have to shoot the ball this year, I think it's going to be really special.
So why is it that you feel like you can guard and play defense like few BYU teams have, if any at all?
Just because I think now all the guys that we have now are capable and have bought into this idea, hey, if we go guard, we're going to be able to score and we're going to be able to win some really important games.
Not to mention the wingspans and the legs.
Right,
exactly.
And it's a fact, and it's not a knock on someone. Like, just physically sometimes you don't have, the length or the speed or whatever. But when you add, and we saw it in the practice, dude, it was awesome. Atiki Atiki is just like a freak of nature.
Dude's a monster.
Right? Yeah. He's just blocking everything. Fousseyni Traore's wingspan's like 7'2". He's a monster. And then Seneca Knight's wingspan. And everyone buying in on the defensive end even more.
Yep.
What does that mean for this year's team? Because the last 2 years we've seen BYU's been a top 20 offensive team.
Yeah.
If you're just a little better defensively, that goes a long ways, right?
It does. And I think it's going to be fast. Like, it's going to be steals, blocks, transition, everybody pushing the ball. We've kind of made a big emphasis on people making plays. So instead of kind of walking it up the floor, we're going to get the ball after a defensive stop and go. So it's going to be fast.
You obviously have had access to all of your teammates more than basically the rest of the world, and other than everybody but your staff. So when you look at just your teammates and who made big improvements in the offseason, who's stood out to you? Who you're like, wow, you're really getting better? What are those guys, or what's the guy that's done that?
I think Hunter Erickson has been incredible because last year, dude didn't play. But every single day in practice, he was putting it on. He was making us better. We were having to guard. And so I think just that continual process of him having to do that last year, and now in the summer, he's starting to step into this role where he's going to be a real player. And I think he could help us in so many ways. Just everything he's done, like his effort in practice, I think he's gotten so much better.
3-point shooting, we've chronicled it. You know, at the beginning of the year, you kind of took a sec to warm up, but you're a 40% shooter after that. Do you feel like you fell into that groove and you can pick that right back up this year?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to trust the work. And I've shot a ton of shots this offseason. So I'm hoping just to continually grow off of that.
And then what else did you work on personally?
Playmaking we worked on, and just in practice, like pushing the ball in transition. Again,
you bringing it up.
Yeah.
Love it.
Getting the rebound and going, kind of pushing the break, kicking ahead, beating people off the bounce. A lot of ball screens, coming off ball screens, making the right plays. And then I think just kind of making the easy play or the simple pass, and then having just a better basketball IQ.
Caleb, I know you're only a sophomore.
Uh-huh.
You sound like a veteran.
Thanks.
And you're in a suit,
yes.
so there's a
So I
maturity
just
there.
look good.
Yes, you sound like you're stepping into this leadership role, and you went through a lot last year.
Yeah.
And we saw kind of the emergence halfway through the season. You went to that next step. So
Got in the starting lineup.
Are you feeling this both mentally and physically? How would you explain your transition and getting better personally?
I just think I'm to a point now where I want to take that leadership role and I want to help this team as much as I can. I think I have the ability to do that. Like, I want guys to come to me. I want guys to see me as an example on the court, on and off the court. And so I think that's just kind of been part of the natural process of my basketball game. Like you said, I started off the season, it was interesting. It was kind of a learning curve. But once I passed that curve, I think now I'm just getting more and more comfortable, becoming more of a playmaker, and then just kind of learning the game. That basketball IQ is slowly just building and building and building.
We need to give guys time to do stuff, you know? Like, it was your freshman year of college. Like, you're literally a teenager, you know what I mean? We need to give you a sec. Are you a 3.5 on the court as opposed to a 3 or a 4 at this point? You're talking about bringing it up, shooting threes.
I like that.
Can you be a small forward type?
Yeah.
Wing?
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just going to go out and play where I need to play in order to win games. If that means putting me at the 1, if that means putting me at the 5, I'll do it.
Let's go. Let's go, baby.
Okay, we asked Alex Barcelo and Mark Pope about this, but everyone's really excited about Seneca Knight and T. John Lucas, the two experienced transfer guards. Where do you think they'll make the biggest impact on this BYU basketball squad?
We'll start with T. John. I think T. John's ability to pass the ball is going to be special. I think a lot of people, when they see kind of what I've seen over the last little bit of time that he's been here, it's pretty incredible. Just the way he can see things before they happen. He's a veteran guard. And I think that's going to be so exciting for a lot of BYU fans. And then Seneca, just everything. His ability to score the ball, athleticism, one of the best dudes I've ever met. Like, just super happy attitude. And again, I think our whole team has kind of bought into that too. It's like best locker room in America. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't have a few guys that are just kind of down about everything and then a few guys that are super high energy pumped like a Richard Harward. And everyone has kind of come together. Okay, Rich might be on another level. But that, I'm telling you, Richard Harward is one of the best dudes in the world. Like, without Rich, we're not BYU basketball.
Yeah.
Tell me more about why.
Dude's like, I don't want to call it insane, but it is. It's the way he.
In what way?
The way he brings energy when no one else has it is pretty impressive. And I think that's a quality that is going to translate the rest of his life. And I think it helps our team in so many ways. He's always the one to kind of step up and be like, hey, guys, let's go. Like, if we're down, things are happening. He'll come over to me and be like, you good? Like, let's talk things out. And so his leadership on this team has been awesome. And I think you guys will start to see it even more once we start playing games.
And he'll be the last guest today. He did internships with HR. He wants to do HR. My recollection of HR the brand of HR is Toby from The Office. And he's the opposite.
If I'm going to have an HR rep, I want Richard Harward.
I want Richard Harward.
HR rep.
Yes.
Like, you got a problem here? Let's talk it out and get you the help you need. Yeah.
It's a win-win situation.
Is he ever down or quiet, or is he always positive, always sort of verbose? Like,
I think he has both. Like I lived with Rich. I've spent some good time with Rich, and his ability to just kind of be in the right spot and the state of mind when he needs it is awesome. Like, he can be super personal. He can be like a friend and almost a mentor in certain ways. And then also, when it's time to turn it up, dude can be an absolute animal.
Yeah. Yes.
And so, like, what more do you want in a teammate?
I love that. I love that.
Caleb Lohner bringing it on BYU Sports Nation, BYU Basketball Media Day. We'll close with this. And you've had a year to go through this. Who do you view as BYU basketball's biggest rival right now? Is it Gonzaga? Is it St. Mary's? Is it Utah? How do you feel about this?
I mean, Utah's a classic. And for me, of course, Utah is also just a rival just because of my prior decisions. But I think personally Gonzaga's the rival because they're the ones we want to play. Like, they're the biggest stage. We want to be on the biggest stage with them. And so, to me, that's the rivalry I'm picking.
Love it. It's fun to have multiple, too. I love it.
Yes, it is.
Well, Caleb, you're looking good, dude. You're a sophomore now. You're like super mature and old man now. I love it, dude. I love it.
You look like a lawyer. Like
I gotta wear something more spicy.
the law
next time.
offices. They team up with your dad. We'll call it the law offices of Lohner and Lohner.
For this, adrenaline junkie, that's the worst thing you can. You look like a librarian.
Yeah, jeez.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.